Welcome to Ageless by Rescu. This podcast is devoted to exploring the science of rejuvenation, uncovering the most trusted experts, the must-have products, innovations, and technology in the field of vitality, aesthetics, new beauty, and cosmetic enhancement. Pauline, I'm so thrilled to have you on the show. One of the most requested pieces of information that I have, I would get this question daily, is what to buy, how to know what ingredients are right for me, and how to use products. And this seems to be so confounding for most people because there is such a plethora of information out there, and you don't know whether to take advice from your friend, take advice from TikTok, something that you've read or listened to. Can you share with us, a cheats way of making sure that you're getting the right advice for skincare? And I'm going to get you to do some deep diving in this territory. But what would you recommend first off?
It is very overwhelming out there trying to decide what is going to work best for your skin. There's so many products and there's a lot of money involved here. And so my advice has always been and always will be, go and get a professional consultation done on your skin and see that you get the right regime that's going to work for you. No two skins are the same. What may work for your friend or your sister or your brother may not necessarily work for you. So it's not a one size fits all. You really do need to go and have a consultation and they'll set you on the right road to working with the right ingredients that's going to deliver the results that you're looking for. I can't stress that enough.
I think it's so interesting that you say that because, when I was growing up, your mum would take you to a salon for your first, treatment or to get your range put together. There wasn't, social media. There wasn't this kind of vox pop of what's good for you. And so most of us had our experience of being taken either to a cosmetic counter where we had a consultation or to the facialist that our mum or big sister saw. And then they took the time to examine our skin, to give us a regime that we would stick to, and that was it. But now, with the proliferation of really high-tech ingredients, that must be even more important. And that's the space that you play in. You are a cosmeceutical skincare formulator. I'm wondering if you can share with us what is the difference between cosmeceutical and over-the-counter skincare?
Cosmeceuticals, they're cosmetic, they're therapeutic type cosmetic, medical or drug-like effects. So it's more than just what you're going to buy over the counter. Over the counter, you're going to get a product that suits everybody, whereas ours is more targeted towards skin conditions and types. And so fewer ingredients, lower concentrations, higher percentages. And so that's the difference between just going and buying straight one. That it's a little bit of a one might suit all skins when you do buy over the counter.
So what is a cosmeceutical then? If you could just break that down for me again. You said that they are therapeutic in nature. They behave sometimes like a drug would. That sounds on one part really exciting because it sounds like it's going to be more efficacious. But I guess for other people, they might think, my gosh, this might be too much for my skin. Can you explain why we would seek out cosmeceutical skincare? Because for me, and I will share this openly with anyone who cares to listen, my skin changed when I switched to cosmeceutical grade skincare. I love skincare, like most women in Australia. I'm tantalized by the latest launches, what celebrity is using what, but to get the real results, the results that were so dramatic that I had the best skin of my life in my 40s as opposed to my 20s or 30s. The difference that made the difference was switching to cosmeceutical. And it's really hard to look back because nothing works like cosmeceutical works.
No, absolutely right about that. Look, they're unlike regular skincare cosmetics. As I said earlier, we work with fewer ingredients, higher percentage and active ingredients that are going to work. We also work with a delivery system. And what I mean by a delivery system is that we use ingredients that's going to take it down to the dermal layer, which is where I kind of call the dermal layer the engine room. So we've got to get down there and get that engine room working so nicely. And then what we apply on the top of our skin is our moisturizers to give us that nice look. Just to liken it, it's like a car, a really good car. You've got to maintain your engine. Your car's going to run forever. But on the outside, you've got to maintain the washing and keeping it nice and polished and clean. And that's what a cosmeceutical will do. We'll get down there with the delivery system that we work with into that, down into the dermal layer where it all takes place. So as I said, I can't express enough, but it is less ingredients for a start. If you look on the back of a lot of other product ranges that are over-the-counter ranges, you'll see how many ingredients are used. A lot of fillers, a lot of silicone. We avoid all of that. We just want to target the concern.
So when you're talking about targeting the concern, that takes me to my next question, is that, and actually something that you touched on, which was surprising to me when I was researching what you were doing. And just to go back to my introduction, you created your own skincare brand called Ultraderm, and it is a cosmeceutical brand. And what you were saying before is that you use fewer ingredients. And I think that that's really interesting. So fewer ingredients, but with higher concentrations. And
It
and
does.
that seems to be the exact opposite of what I guess over-the-counter skincare does, where they, are rattling off 100 different ingredients. And you're saying that to make a really potent product, you actually need to focus on fewer ingredients, but really up the grade of the potency. Is that correct?
Absolutely correct. But also too, you've got to have that delivery system. Without a delivery system, and what I mean by that, it's like a little vehicle that's going to take it down. So the molecule of what we're talking about here is much, much smaller than that of other maybe over-the-counter type molecules. And so they won't be able to penetrate down through to the dermal layer, which is where we're trying to get to all the time. A lot of those ranges, they're ineffectual really. And so what we, like I said, what we do is we work with higher concentrations, percentages, and delivery system, and that's what cuts the difference.
One of the things that is really gaining traction in the skincare world is bioactive ingredients. And I'm wondering if you can explain what a bioactive ingredient is.
Well, bioactive ingredients, again, it's that's where we're going to work again with the cosmeceuticals and their therapeutic, and they're ingredients that have enhanced effectiveness on specific areas that we're trying to target with our skin. Again, we're going back to it's just been the effectiveness, and these are tested very vigorously also, and so they can help, and they will help reduce instances of skin irritations and reactions.
You worked, I mean, you have an enormous body of experience, and for the past 20 years, you worked with dermal therapists as, I guess, the laboratory for your learning. And what what were the dermal therapists saying to you that was missing in the client care equation? And why did you feel that, you had to step in and create something based on what was not available?
Well, I guess that when I started way back, there was a lot of really lovely cosmetic companies that were working in our salons that they came from France. But what we really wanted here, they wanted real results. We started to see a little bit of a drip feed through coming from America with ingredients such as lactic acid, glycolic, salicylic, all these ones active acids that are going to make a very big difference on the skin. So what we set about to do was try and incorporate those really active ingredients that are going to give the results, and marry them up with really like stabilizing ingredients as well. And this is what was lacking here in Australia, and we saw the opportunity and the gap there that needed to be filled. But I have to say that a lot of this has come from my therapist. They have fed me the information that we so needed to put together and bring to the table.
I think, You touched on ingredients and, the heritage ingredients, which were the acids, the AHAs, the lactics, 25 years ago, that was really news. That was really news in Australia about using those ingredients. But nowadays, it seems like, any 15-year-old can rattle off the hot ingredients that should be used in skincare. I'm wondering if you could share with me from your expertise and your, you know, immense amount of experience in formulating products. What do you see as the non-negotiable star ingredients of effective skincare? What are the ones that we really, really need to focus on and, avoid the noise from everything else? Are there key things that for you are non-negotiable?
Oh, absolutely. Given the ingredients that we work with, the most non-negotiable ingredient is our protective product. So you need to work with an SPF, either 30 or 50 plus SPF. That is absolutely number one, and it's not negotiable whatsoever. Because of the ingredients that we're working with, we need to continuously be able to protect that skin and nurture that skin. And the sun here is very damaging. And when we're using the type of active ingredients we do use, this is absolutely paramount that they use their protection. And so that is, sun protection is absolutely number one. And I would follow it very closely then by our serums, our vitamin A, our vitamin B, our vitamin C, that they are also extremely important ingredients to be working with to get the results that you're looking for.
Let's go back to basics again. If you've stumbled across this podcast and this is your first lesson in putting together the ultimate wardrobe of skincare, what is vitamin A and why do we need it?
Vitamin A is vitamin A can be used in lots of different ways. We use it in a serum, and a serum, like I said, the molecular structure of the serum is a little bit smaller, so it's going to penetrate down into the dermal layer. Your vitamin A is going to, it can be a soft vitamin A, a palmitate, or it can be a retinol. But what vitamin A is capable of doing is combating the aging signs. It's also going to help with pigmentation. It's also going to help with problem skin, scarring. It's vitamin A is absolutely vital to apply to your skin every day. But then, whilst we're using vitamin A, we must always be using our sun protector at 30 or 50 plus.
Yeah, I noticed that you said that, and I agree with you. Once you start dabbling in the world of cosmeceuticals, the ingredients are so effective and the change in your skin is so dramatic that you definitely need the protection layer. Can you explain to us as a formulator and I guess as an educator in this space, the other question that I'm asked all the time is the difference between retinol and vitamin A, and who should be using what and what are the key things we should be looking for when we're adding this key anti-aging ingredient into our skincare routine?
The vitamin A can be a palmitate. A palmitate is going to be a little bit softer to use than a retinol. They're both going to get down into the dermal layer. They're both very, very important ingredients. But to start out, I would be always recommending that you start with the palmitate, and then you move to your retinol, and you would start. It's a nighttime serum. It's not to be used through the day at all because it can make you very sun sensitive. That's another thing. It is going to help turn over your cells. Again, we go back to the protection for that reason. But so there are different forms of vitamins, but they are all going to go to the dermal layer, and it just depends on what we're trying to achieve for your skin, whether it be pigmentation or scarring. We might need to use a retinol straight up. If it's just, getting into the serum scene, then we could use a palmitate as a soft approach and then work our way up.
And can you use vitamin A serums around your eye area, or is that something that you would absolutely avoid?
No, I'd definitely be using vitamin A around my eye area because it also helps with, the darkness that some people have around their eye area, pigmentation and the lines. You would want to be careful applying it around your eye area. And there are eye creams that also do have vitamin A in them, so that if that's a softer approach or a road that you would like to go down, I would be recommending then perhaps a vitamin A cream with, for around the eye area. But serums are perfectly safe also to take up around your eye area. You just be a little bit careful as to application.
Um, Pauline, the other key ingredient that you called out, which everyone is speaking about, so I would love some education around this, is vitamin C. Uh, what
Mm.
does it do, and what are the differences in the vitamin C's that we hear so much about? Because it seems to be an ingredient that's been around for a long time, but what I understand is that formulations have definitely improved the stability of you talked about stabilizing the ingredients before, and that's kind of an art form that cosmeceuticals seem to have harnessed very, very well. Can you tell us why you added vitamin C to your range and in what format?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we have vitamin C. It is an unstable vitamin, unfortunately, and it's always been the case. Again, I like the vitamin C in a serum form because we can get that, like the delivery system, which is going to take it down to where it needs to be. And so, vitamin C is something that everybody needs to have. Everybody. We don't. We're not going to make vitamin C that's going to be. We have to apply. What I'm trying to say is topically to our skin. Internally, it's going to hit all the other organs. It's not going to be able to get out to the skin. So we need to apply that every single morning. It's also your second defense sun protection as well. It does have that factor in it. It's not to ever be used as a sun protectant on its own. We do still need to go to sun protection, but it does have that ability to also combat the sun rays as well. It's so again, we're going to help with the texture of the skin, the toning of the skin, especially vitamin C for people that have got a dull skin. It's lightening and brightening at the same time. It does also target pigmentation. So as we were saying with the A, we know A is going to target pigmentation, and then we're going to top it with the C in the morning, just to make reference to the fact that A can only be used at night, and your C is your morning go-to serum.
When you talk about C, one of the things that people often say is that vitamin C can sometimes make them break out. Is there a reason, or is there a way that we can avoid vitamin C, causing sensitivity or breakouts?
Look, as I said, no two skin's the same. We don't have a lot of that going on with breakouts with vitamin C, but sometimes people break out just because they've changed their regime. It's not the vitamin C. It's just their skin adjusting to a new ingredient that it hasn't taken on board before. So, in as much as the breakout, what I would say is that cut it back. Cut it back to twice a week, and then slowly build it up again. But it's probably not going to be the whole reason why you would have a breakout. Vitamin C is going to really help that. Also, too, depends on what sort of vitamin C we're talking about here as well. You know, in some cases, most vitamin C's are water based, so it's not really going to add or contribute to breakouts. However, if it's a stronger vitamin C and it's in a more the consistency is a little bit thicker, then perhaps the water-based one would be more suitable to a skin that is prone to break out.
And are you able to go straight into using vitamin C every day, or do you recommend building it up? And are there different strengths in vitamin C's that we should look for? Like you were mentioning with vitamin A, there's the palmitate, and then as your skin gets used to vitamin A, you could go to a retinol format. Is it the same with vitamin C as an ingredient? Are there different strengths? Are there different tolerances for it? Do we need to build up a tolerance for vitamin C?
Not really. You can actually go straight into using your vitamins. Or generally speaking, you can go in straight into using your vitamin C. There are definitely different strengths, and so the lowest probably you would want to go is a 5% vitamin C, and then we can go right up to a 20% vitamin C. But if you're virginal to vitamin C, then I would start with the lower dose, and then it gives you somewhere to work towards as well to increase that vitamin C. But the long-term plan would be to get your vitamin C percentages up as fast as your skin can tolerate it.
And in your Ultraderm range, do you have multiple versions of vitamin C and different products with vitamin C in it so you can use it differently?
Yeah, absolutely, we do. We have a vitamin C cream, which is sometimes just a preference for some people that prefer to use a moisturizer. We have two serums. We have a 10% vitamin C, which is a water-based, and then we've got our 20% vitamin C, which is a little, the consistency is a little bit thicker. So that consistency is very good for a mature skin, a menopausal skin, a premenopausal skin, whereas our absolute C, which is the 10%, is perfect for starting out. You know, people often say, what age do I start using vitamin C? Now. You just
Now,
start
the
straight
time
away.
is now.
The time is now. Absolutely now. And, you know, if you're 20, start using it. If you're 50 and you haven't ever used it before, get onto it, because it will make the difference. It doesn't matter if you've left the run a bit late. It is only going to help your skin. It's your skin insurance.
And you mentioned another key single ingredient, which was vitamin B. And of course, vitamin B is kind of having a moment along with hyaluronic acid. But we'll start with vitamin B. What does vitamin B do for the skin, and how essential is it in your arsenal of cosmeceutical skin products?
Vitamin B, I always say vitamin B is for beautiful. It is absolutely the hero product. It's still a little there's still a little uncertainty in some people's minds about vitamin B, but believe me, it is absolutely the must of all of them. They are all so important. A, B, and C are, you know, very, very important. But your B, it does everything for everybody. It's just the best all rounder. It's going to normalize skin. It's going to help with those breakouts. It's going to help with pigmentation. It's also going to control oil. If you've got an overflow of oil in your skin, it's also going to combat dryness in the skin. So we can see B is the hero product. And I have to say too, in our line of serums, B is probably our biggest seller, as because people have now started to realise how important vitamin B is. I started when vitamin C first hit the ground, and no one even knew about serums then. It was like, whoa, what's that? And it's like, you know, we understood how the serums were going to work. And as we move forward in time, then the B rose its hand, and it is probably the powerhouse of the vitamins.
And do you buy vitamin B in different strengths, similar to the C or the A?
Absolutely. They do come in different strengths. And so anything from, you know, probably 5% up to about 15%. We work at 10%. The other name, it's often referred to as niacinamide. And
Yeah,
so,
niacinamide is, again,
yeah.
that's
And you'll
the other version of it. Yes.
Yes, and you'll see that, you know, good skin companies have niacinamide in a few of their other ingredients as well. We lock it in with different serums that we also have. That, you know, there's a night shift one that we have with vitamin B in there, works with glycolics and that together. So it is a very compatible vitamin to work in conjunction with other ingredients. So you will see it also in moisturizers. Anything that's got vitamin B in, just get your hands onto it.
And what about hyaluronic acid? So, we've talked about vitamin A helping to refine the skin, helping with fine lines, cellular turnover, vitamin C being protective and regenerative, vitamin B being a perfect all-rounder, to soothe, to hydrate, to balance. What does hyaluronic acid do? What's the role of hyaluronic acid as a single ingredient and also within other products?
Yeah, hyaluronic acid, it's moisture binding. And so um, when we're born with, you know, how the baby's all yummy and fat and you want to bite their face and they're all smudgy and all that yummy stuff. That's hyaluronic acid. You've also, I don't know the name of the dog, but you'll see that dog that's got lots and lots and lots of layers of skin. That's all hyaluronic acid. And so as we get older, we start to deplete the hyaluronic acid. It just naturally, anything from, I think, around about the age of 25, it really starts to deplete quite quickly. So what we need to do is work with ingredients such as hyaluronic acid that is going to be able to lock the moisture back into your skin, attracts the moisture from the air, and then creates that, you know, fullness and that plumpness in our skin, which is what we're all striving to get. So hyaluronic acid is, well, I know in our product range alone, it's probably through about 8 or 9 of our products, because it is absolutely vital when we're talking about the condition of our skin, that plumpiness that we all want.
So we've talked about 4 serums, and you were very clear that vitamin A is something that we use at night. Vitamin C is something we use during the day. Where does the vitamin B and the hyaluronic acid fit into the regime, and in what order?
Okay, so your vitamin B, you use that. You can use that morning and night. And some of the vitamin Bs, like our vitamin B, also has hyaluronic acid in it. And so you can find products out there that will have your B, so you can put your B on every day, and it would have the hyaluronic acid. And so your regime of, I think is what you're trying to ask me, is that how do we apply them, and where do they fit in? Is that
Yeah, so
right?
I understand that the vitamin A is at night. So
Yep.
if we were using a vitamin B or a hyaluronic acid, can you combine that with the vitamin A at night, or would you just leave that on its own?
No, you can definitely combine it with the A at night. However, once you apply a serum to your skin, you do need to apply a moisturizer. So if your vitamin, you would put your B on first, and then you would put your A on at night, and then you would put a moisturizer on, and in the morning you would put your B on, and then your C on, and so your B will be first, and then your C can go on over the top of that.
And the hyaluronic acid, where would that fit into the regime?
Oh, well, hyaluronic acid can go morning and night. It can be put in anywhere, but that's why I probably would like to have combination hyaluronic acid in some of these serums, and so it's in one. So your B, like I said, your B can be used morning and night, and your hyaluronic acid could be involved in that. But if not, you could use your hyaluronic acid every single morning and every single night.
You said something that was really interesting, and again, it's something that I'm asked about all the time. Is if I'm using these super potent serums that claim to be doing all this work, why do I need a moisturizer?
Yeah, because your serums are going to go down into the dermal layer, as I've spoken earlier about. And so your moisturizer is going to add the moisture to your skin, because we need to continue to moisturize our skin. Also, too, it's going to lock in those serums. So once the serums have driven down, and it's best to leave, if you can, leave 5 minutes between your layering of serums. So, and then you apply your moisturizer. But your moisturizer, it's again, to me, it's like the polish on the car. You've got to put that on. It's just what you have to do. And so it's going to be, you need to use your serums to get down into the engine room of your skin, and then we're going to put the moisturizer over the top to lock all of that in and to give you that smoothness and that softness on the surface of the skin.
Pauline, to have you on the show is fantastic because of the work that you've done, both as a formulator and also working with beauticians and dermal therapists. Let's talk about some skin conditions, because by the time you go and see a professional about your skin, it's not because you've got gorgeous glowing skin. It's usually because a concern has popped up for you. And the concerns that we hear about the most, particularly in aging skin, is pigmentation, loss of elasticity and firmness, and also, interestingly, around the time of perimenopause and menopause, is skin sensitivity. And I was wondering if you could guide us as to what are some of the products that you could use, in addition to treatments that you could have, that could address these, most common skin conditions.
Yeah, this is where you need to go to a professional to have your skin diagnosed as to where we're going to go with this. And so there's a few conditions that you're talking about in there, like your menopausal skin. So for your menopausal skin, they're usually carrying a lot of heat in their skin. They're hot. They need that. Their skin is quite flushed. And so we need to work with something that's going to be a little bit more calming on the skin, and ingredients that are going to be calming on the skin. And then when we're talking about our problem skin, our acne type skin, then we need to move to a different type of ingredient that's going to help that, like the salicylic, your vitamin B, your vitamin A, that's going to control all of that. And then we've got the sensitive skin. Again, sensitive, it's just that what you've got to do is just be diagnosed so that we can understand your skin and try to achieve what it is that we're trying to, what we've got to work out what we're going to achieve for your skin with you. And then then the ingredients are going to work best with you. And as I said, no two skins are the same. So we do need to really have that diagnostic tool to evaluate your skin and then set you on the right path.
You've kind of answered the next question I was going to ask is like, with these super effective ingredients that we can now use at home, do we really need to go and have professional treatments? Um, in your skincare brand Ultraderm, you have a professional line, and I understand you're in about 200 different clinics and salons nationwide, but you also have the at-home products. If I was going to go to a salon to have my consultation and analysis for my skin concerns, what are the suite of professional treatments that you recommend we also incorporate outside of our at-home care? Are there things that you think are non-negotiable or truly effective in getting us on track for the best skin of our lives?
Do you mean in as much as like what we can offer in salon
Yeah.
with, yeah. And so definitely, this is where home products are absolutely a must. 97% of your time is with your skin. And so we've got to make sure that that home regime is working really well and on with the right ingredients. When you go to the clinic, they're going to be able to offer you those professional services such as peels. Now, they really need to be done under supervision of a professional because there is some downtime that can come with peels. There's also, we just need to continuously monitor that skin whilst having a peel. We can, the salon will address needling. Maybe needling is something that you really need. Needling probably surfaced really maybe 18 or no 20 years ago. It was before that, but when it sort of came to this forefront, it was the rollers. And in actual fact, we were the first company to bring that along with a serum that we worked with the rollers. And that was really big in its time. And then we moved on to the needling device, which is a professional treatment only. And so what we do with needling, it's going to help work with the ingredients that we work with, because we work with those lactic, glycolic, salicylics, enzymes. And so we can get a little bit deeper again with that type of modality. Then we use also Regenerate, another really beautiful way of,
I heard about this Regenerate, which is the nanotechnology.
yeah.
Talk to me about Regenerate, because I hadn't heard of this, but when I read about the science behind it, it actually makes perfect sense.
Whereas Regenerate's fantastic. It actually, what it is that it actually, if for those that are familiar with needling, the needling device that we have, it looks a little bit the same, but it's different in as much as when you're doing a skin needling, you're using stainless steel needles. With the Regenerate, we're using what we call a chip, and that chip is made of the hardest silicon that can be ever made. And it's nanotechnology means it's minuscule, it's tiny, tiny. We're not going to feel it, we're not going to see it. But what it has the ability to do is make hundreds and thousands of permeations across the surface of the skin. And so allowing that then allows us to use with really good, our serums to really cut down and get down into that dermal layer. It's just when you're applying your serums at home, and I talked about the delivery system, it's going to get down there, but this is just going to take it that little bit further. The beauty of the Regenerate is that there's very little downtime and there's no pain associated with it because it's nano, and nano is the way we're moving forward. Even we're going to start seeing, in the medical profession where they're going to use nanotechnology for needles so that people don't have that, people that have that fear of needles, or you're just not going to feel it. And that's the beauty of it. So with Regenerate, as I said, we make those hundreds and thousands of permeations. We get the serums down to the deeper layer, and then there's a really nice side to Regenerate. It's a little bit of the Zen probably in Regenerate, whereby we apply a tissue that's again loaded with serums, and then we have this. They're called globes. We keep them in the freezer, they're frozen. So then we just do some acupuncture techniques over your skin, and we just bring down the inflammation, and it's very, very calming. It's also very. It's a bit of a for your client on the bed. They're more likely to want to come back, or not more likely, they will come back for a Regenerate treatment, and sort of hesitate a little bit about a needling. They work well together, they're not the same. And so for those that are having the needling, which is the needling technique, we can do the Regenerate treatments in between your needling, and that's just going to give you the best outcome for your skin.
We talked lightly about perimenopausal and menopausal skin, and you just touched on inflammation and heat. Um, Do we need to look at changing our skincare program based on our changes in hormones? I know that, it's very popular at the moment. It's super topical, the conversation around perimenopause and menopausal skin. But does our skin's need actually change aside from getting the hot flashes and, um, laxity? What are the things that we should be really focusing on when we're, going into a new phase of our hormonal cycle?
Absolutely. This is why it's really important that you stay closely with a professional that's treating your skin, because our skin changes all the time. And definitely so when we're going into the menopausal years, premenopausal, the skin's going to become, like you said, there's going to be inflammation, there's heat in our skin, but the condition of our skin changes, like dryness. Dryness becomes a very, very big problem for menopausal ladies. So we need to be able to keep that skin hydrated throughout those years. It also can become a little bit sensitive. So what we were using in our 30s and 40s, it's say if it was glycolic or lactic, or lactic's very good for actually for menopausal, but if it was glycolic, that was all the rap then, that's great. We can do that in our 30s and 40s. But our women going into menopausal phase of their life, it's very hard for them to, well, their skin just doesn't tolerate it the same way. Their skin's a little bit weaker as well. And so what we've got to do is try and build that skin and maintain the flexibility in that skin, because as I said, it will become dry, and so therefore we need to keep it very hydrated. And so most certainly our our ingredients that we're using will definitely change through our menopausal years.
And what about, the extras of at-home care? We talked about salon treatments and clinical treatments, but what about the extras? Do you believe that we need to have at-home masks, at-home exfoliants, LED masks? Are there things that you think the extra does actually result in extra results?
Well, yes and no. I think that it's everywhere now. It's that DIY. You will not do the same job that a professional will do for your skin. However, those home devices that could be a little bit gimmicky. I'm not. Don't get me wrong. I'm not underselling them or running them down. Not for one moment, because if that's what you've got at home and you're committed to using it, well, that's great. You'll get a result. You will eventually
Yeah,
get
I
the
always say compliance is the first step, right? If you don't use it, you don't get a result, and if you use it,
no,
you're
no,
more likely to get a result.
absolutely. That's it in a nutshell. It's like those people that go to the gym, they go religiously, they get the result. People that go once a month, not going to happen. And so it's the same with our skin. You've got to be committed to your skin regime. Now, you don't have to have all of those things. We've got ingredients that work really, really well without those things. But if you've got them, use them. And
What
I
about face masks and exfoliants? Do you think that extra step? I mean, again, we see it on TikTok, we see it everywhere. It's, self-care, a mask, 55 different masks, 3 different exfoliants. Do we need them, and do they make a difference?
Yeah. Look, do we need them? Not really. But if you've got them, they're just add-ons and they're extras. And so, like, if you're time poor and you think, I don't have time to do all of that, I don't have time to do these masks and all of that jazz, stick to your basics, stick to what you can do at home and what you know you're going to be able to do and what you're going to be committed to doing. We do see a lot of, women or men, whatever, out there, and they get caught up in the hype of just buying it, and TikTok contribute to that, as do all social media. And so I think just work out what's going to be good for your skin, work out exactly what time you're going to put into your skin, work out what you think is going to work for you. But I do believe that, definitely cleanse, serum, protection. And if you can get a protection with the moisturizer involved in that protection, well, then those 3 basic products are going to get you through. However, if we want to go that little bit deeper, and then I would definitely be recommending that you get your Sesame B serums. They're an absolute must. Your masks are a add-on. And so if you can, there's all times in our life, I believe, that we go, oh, I just want to just lie on my bed and have a mask on. Buy it and do it, and it's great. Your skin's going to feel fantastic. It's so worth the money. It's so worth that investment. Exfoliant, I believe that we should exfoliate at least once a week. I don't believe in over exfoliating, and this is why we've got to keep, control on the skin that we're dealing with, because we can overstimulate and then we can create more problems. So exfoliate, and you've got to exfoliate with a really good exfoliant too. You've got to make sure that the beads in your exfoliant are harsh, sorry, and that they're perfectly circular, so that they roll on the skin. They don't scratch away at your skin. So it is important that you buy a really good exfoliant and get to using it at least once a week. If you've got a problem skin, that's going to be great for that as well. But if you might be able to just buy a small clay mask and treat yourself to once a week. So it just all comes back to what time and effort and of course money as well, as to what you will have on your bathroom bench, as to what you're going to use regularly. But definitely you will get results. You use them, you're going to get the results.
Pauline, every time I speak to a dermatologist, they really hammer home this one particular thing. They say people skimp on a good cleanser, but the skin's barrier system is one of the most important areas to protect and maintain. And using an incorrect cleanser or a toner, which used to be, really popular as part of every skincare regime, to use a toner to remove any traces of makeup or debris, can really set you up for failure. And it doesn't matter what serum, what moisturizer, what SPF you use after the fact. If you've started the prep wrong with the wrong cleanser, it's a highway to hell. Do you agree that a good cleanser is worth the investment, and why?
Absolutely. Your cleanser is absolutely that's absolutely the canvas. We're going to clean that canvas. I always say, you can't clean a proper table without taking everything off and doing it properly, can you? You just can't do that. So you have to have a good cleanser. You have to have the cleanser that's suited to what your skin condition is. If we go back to the menopausal lady, we want a soft, gentle cleanser, but you have to have that. It has to be a good cleanser. If you've got a problematic skin, you might need to have a cleanser that's got some salicylic or some glycolic in it. But in order to get the other serums and the creams into the dermal layer, what we've been talking a lot about here this morning is you've got to make you've got to get the canvas all clean, and also to using the right one to protect the acid mantle of your skin. And this is where a lot of problems start. Wrong cleanser, not going to help with the impaired acid mantle. So we've got to make sure that we're on the right cleanser, clean the surface, and then your skin is open and ready for the next lot of serums and moisturizing that you need. If you don't get that right, your serums and moisturizers aren't going to have the same effect.
I'm going to ask you a controversial question, but maybe this is more personal preference. But I have never found a cream cleanser that after your skin feels soft afterwards, but never clean. And it seems counterintuitive to if you're someone who just does one cleanse. So I'm not talking about a double cleanse. If you do one cleanse, to use a cream cleanser, because you almost invariably have to use a toner to remove that layer of the cream cleanser. And whilst your skin feels soft, it never feels really, really clean. So I've always gravitated towards the oil to water cleansers if I wanted something hydrating, or a gentle foaming cleanser. If you do have dry skin or sensitive skin, are there wash-off cleansers that are not going to make your skin feel like it's been stripped back and the acid mantle has been disrupted? Or do you truly recommend that we stick to cream cleansers?
No, I reckon, I think what you need to do is stick to the cleanser that is going to work for you. Again, I like a cream cleanser because of my age. I like the balms that are a bit more oily, because they're a little bit more nurturing for the skin. Really, in order to get a really clean skin, you do need to double cleanse. And honestly,
Do you
it
agree
does
with
not.
that?
Yeah, totally, 100%. And, I actually, I'm a big believer in cleansing at the base. And I believe that and most people do put in the shower. I ask this question a lot when we are doing training sessions: how many people cleanse their skin at the base and thoroughly? And there's a small show of hands, because most people do it in the shower because they're time poor. I get that. But when you're doing it in the shower, you're watering it down. And so I'm a big believer, double cleanse at your base, and you're going to get a very clean skin. Also, too, I with the makeup, because makeup is so good these days that it stays on forever. Um, Micellar cleanser, just wipe over your face with the
So are
micellar
you
cleanser.
okay with the micellar cleanser?
Oh, absolutely. Only as to remove the first
The
layer.
makeup.
I would definitely then you definitely need to double cleanse. I know that sounds like a lot, but it's actually not. By the time you do it, you just go wiped over, got the makeup off, and then straight into the cleansers, and you just need to just work that cleanser nicely right to the ears, because a lot of people do their cleansing in this little area of their skin here, and they forget that the build-up's behind the ears. They've just got to do it right over, and kind of nearly make it well, I find it therapeutic, because I'm thinking about my day and thinking about, oh, okay, what can I do better, or whatever I'm thinking. But it is a little bit of downtime, and it doesn't take long at all. And I just love my cleansing. I have a certain time when I do it, I feel like, oh, that's so good. It's like your face is off. It feels wonderful, and it does feel very, very clean. And so double cleansing is a must.
And what
And
about oils? While I've got you on things that everyone always asks me about, are oils the same as serums, or are oils a substitute for moisturizers, or are oils a category of their own? And where do they fit in? Because I love using oils. It's wonderful for massage. It feels beautiful and hydrating. And sometimes I prefer it to a moisturizer at night. But you know, what is the difference and where does it come in?
yeah, oils are different. Their weight is obviously a lot heavier than that of a serum. A serum normally absorbs straight into the skin, whereas oils are formulated to sit a little bit more so on the skin. Depends on what ingredients that we've got in going on in those oils. And so what they'll also do is that I don't think it's a bad idea when you've got your serums on, and your oil will always go on after your serums, though. You must understand that your serums will go in first, and then your oils can encase that. So it's then you would, if you were going to use a moisturizer, a really nice oil is nice, and then just to lock it in again with it with your moisturizer, and that it's going to drive that oil a little bit deeper as well. Because the oils that we're talking about, well, a good oil is a very refined oil, and so if we're talking about facial oil, unlike massage oil where it doesn't have to be so refined, but a facial oil must be very, very, very fine. And the difference is that too, when you've got a good oil, you won't get that crustiness around where you open the bottle. It's very
Well, that's
clear.
good advice. Yeah, that's a good
Yeah.
thing to look out for.
And then when you see other oils that are perhaps not as refined, you will get that buildup of crustiness. And so a good oil, and it depends on what's in that oil, but we've got some, beautiful ingredients out there that we can put into oils. And do you know that menopausal skin, back to the menopausal skin again, it's beautiful for those skin types. Also too, funnily enough, sometimes a problem, acne skin, a problem skin is a dehydrated skin. And so they do need a little bit of oil, even though they shy away completely from oil. But actually, the oil is going to help with overcoming their dehydrated skin, because when they've got that dehydrated skin, they're going to sometimes overstimulate, which creates more of a problem. So it's all about the balance. It's all about how and why we're going to apply that and what we're trying to achieve. Always
Pauline,
the water swims first, though.
oh, they're such good responses because they're the things that everyone wants to know, and you can't glean from a 10-second TikTok or a conversation with your friend. I'm going to ask you. I'm going to go back to your skin barrier and just ask you to explain what that is in kind of normal speak, and what happens to our skin when the barrier is compromised, and how we can repair that skin barrier.
Yeah, the skin barrier, well, that's our outer protective layer. And so if that's impaired, then a lot of these ingredients could become quite, irritating on the skin. So the very first thing we've always got to do, and this is why I say go to your salon, because she's going to fix that impaired skin balance. And so we need to, as I said, we've got to build that first. Now, you can't just go straight into a peel. You can't just go straight into needling, because your skin is compromised. It's weak. It doesn't have the same good structure that it needs to have to take on these other things. And so, and with that, you can actually fix an impaired barrier very, very quickly using the right ingredients on your skin. So the pH has got to be correct in the ingredient that you're using, and then once it's applied to the skin, we can get that corrected very, very quickly. And then we're that and in fact, that is the first thing we have to do. If you're not going to the salon, then you are going in a little bit dark as to what your skin's at. But if your skin is impaired, you'll know it'll be scratchy, it'll be itchy, it won't feel nice, it won't be flexible, it won't be plump. It will just have a little bit of a sallow look to it. And then we know that the acid mantle is impaired. And so nothing is functioning the way it should be down in that dermal layer. So we've got to correct that before we head into anything else.
If having a monthly facial is out of the question for budget or time, how often do you think is like a non-negotiable to go and see a dermal therapist or visit a clinician to have your skin assessed, to check your dermal barrier, to make sure that the products that you're using are correct and suitable for where your skin is at that time?
Yeah, that's a hard one, isn't it? Because ideally, once a month that's the ideal time. If you can incorporate that monthly visit to your therapist as your time, something that you do for yourself, you owe it to yourself. That's what you're going to do. Once a month is ideal. But if you're on a budget and you can't get there or you can't afford to go there, it's look, even if you could get there every 8 weeks, as long as you get there. And even if it's 4 times a year that you can do, but make sure that you're in the forefront of staying on the right track with your ingredients. And so this is why we try to encourage you to go to your therapist to check that you are on track. And so, monthly is perfect. 8 weekly, it's good. Even if it's 4 times a year, you're doing something for yourself.
And finally, and I know that this is a difficult question to ask from someone who's created a brand that works synergistically, ingredient by ingredient, product by product. But if we are one of those people who likes, specific items from different brands, is it safe to combine products from different brands, or are we doing a scientific experiment on our skin? And
Yeah, I know people do it. And do you know why? We're influenced by social media. TikTok tell us what we have to do, and we should get this. And so people get very confused, and we can cause mini explosions on our skin because the ingredients that you're using from another brand may not be compatible with the ingredient that you're using with your regular brand. And so ideally, we'd like you to just stay with one brand, whichever brand that works for you, whatever one you choose to work with. But also the thing here is that we're talking about serious cosmeceuticals here. So concentrations could vary from brand to brand. Percentages will vary from brand to brand. And what may not be compatible with the type of ingredients that this company has as opposed to this company, and then it's going to play havoc on your skin. And that's when we see skin getting into trouble. They're like, oh, it's crazy, my skin's gone mad. And then you address the situation and you find they're using a bit from here and a bit from there because this person said this and that person said that, and they're confused, they're overdoing it. They've got the ingredient chemistry not happening. It's just going to be all wrong. And as I said, it can cause mini explosions under the skin. So my advice is stick to the brand that you like, that works well for you. There's often many other products in that brand that if you want to have a little switch around, which I think is not a bad idea to do anyway, because when our skin has a memory, and if you change your skin routine with that particular product that you've been using for another product, and then go back to the original one, your skin goes, wow, yeah, I remember you, you're great, and it will respond even better. So I'm not a really big fan of people mixing and matching with other brands. I say my advice would be stick to the brand that you know that works for you.
well, thank you so much for this wonderful conversation. I'm just going to summarize because we've crisscrossed over so many things, but
Yeah.
so the master hero ingredients that we should really be incorporating into our skincare routine are vitamin A, vitamin B, vitamin C, and of course, always, always, always sun protection. The thing that
Absolutely.
I learned, which I'm super excited about, is that you can take most good serums all the way under your eyes carefully, but you can use them under your eyes so you can extend the benefit of skin serums. That it is essential investment in your skin. And if you're spending that kind of money on your skin, it's better to do it with professional advice and to go for an initial consultation and some follow-up sessions with a professional skincare expert and to invest in salon treatments alongside what you're doing at home?
That is 100%. Absolutely. That's what we've got to do.
Is there any other pearl of wisdom that you want to share with us from your 20 years in formulating and working in skin science?
Yeah, I just see your skin is your skin insurance. Investing in these ingredients is your skin insurance, and I can't stress that more than enough. And the very first thing that we see on people is their face. And I don't know any. I have never met a person that says I don't want good skin. Everyone wants good skin, so go and get the product. Get good skin by committing yourself to a specific range and just be committed and use it every single day and night. I think as Coco Chanel says, nature gives you the face that you have at 20. It's up to you to merit the face that you have at 50.
Yes, yes. All right, we'll take some advice from there. Pauline, thank you so much. And I really want to try that. Is it the revitalize? The
Regenerate.
regenerate treatment, because I love skin needling. I think it's a great treatment, but it is uncomfortable. So if there's a low pain, high impact version of that, I'm definitely game to try it. So I'm going to look up a clinic to go and have that treatment.
Yeah,
And I just
do.
want to thank you so much for breaking down some of the skin science and the formulation science uh, in skincare. It's always useful. I would truly recommend that you listen to this episode twice, because before you go shopping, you even if you can't get to a clinic in the next, foreseeable future, hopefully this episode with Pauline Valle from Ultraderm has been useful in helping you make better decisions. So I want to thank you so much for being with us today.
Lovely. Thank you so much for having me.